Welcome back to McNulty's Book Rail. Today we're talking about Henry Kuttner. Yet again, 1915, what was it, 1957? I have to look that up. If I'm wrong, I'll put a note on here. We're talking about the Hafner Press editions. I have 3 of them. So let's start with Thunder in the Void. These are his science fiction stories. Introduction by the late, great Mike Resnick. I met him a couple times at conventions, science fiction conventions. I don't really go to conventions too much any longer, but when I did, it was great. This goes back to 2012. Hafner Press, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Haffner, puts out these beautiful hardcover books. Now, they're pricey. $45, $50 in that range. These are his early science fiction stories, probably written, some of them may have been written with C.L. Moore, his wife, and so forth, but we don't know for sure. Certainly she had a hand in a lot of this, and we know that because she outlived him. And so this collects a slew of these. It's a big, beautiful book. And these go back to the 1930s. And so like the first one, Raiders in the Spaceways, was from August of 38 from Marvel Science Stories. And I love that. Beautiful. These Hafner Press editions are beautifully designed, beautifully made, good strong binding. This is an independent press based in Michigan. You can find them on they have a website. They do Jack Williamson and all sorts of other authors. I have a couple of their other books. Really, this is hardcore collecting with modern editions. That's really at its finest. I really love these. And you know, Kuttner is not someone that I could ever ignore as far as the writing. I've covered him before with some different editions. So I have the 3 so far. I have these 3. I have the Thunder in the Void, which is the science fiction. And then they put out 2 volumes of the early Kuttner, Volume 1 and 2. Volume 1 is Terror in the House, and Volume 2 is The Watcher at the Door. Volume 3 is listed on their website, and it's been listed on their website for a very long time. And so I'm waiting for it to become available, and then I'll get it. It takes them a long time to put books out. There's probably a lot of reasons for that. I've actually met Stephen Hafner at conventions once or twice. He's a very nice man. I just briefly said hello. I love the books, and I was able to mention that to him. So these early stories are really fun. We have so many stories that he wrote for a wide variety of magazines. The very first story in Volume 1, Terror in the House, the very first story is The Graveyard Rats, which is really it's really short. It's not very long at all. It's not the type of story that if you wrote it today or someone wrote it today, it would never get published because it's just not. This style is out of favor. And yet people crave this style of writing. And that's why there's such a following for these old pulp writers, because people love it. If you try to do it today, you're going to get pushed aside. The publishers just won't touch it. They don't want anything close to new pulp. There's a few. Airship 27 is out there and a couple of others. But really the mainstream publishers won't touch it. For example, the science fiction stuff, Analog would never publish anything like this today. If you submitted one of these stories with your name on it, it would, you don't want to plagiarize, but they would never publish that type of thing. They just don't. The pulps out there today, which I think is Alfred Hitchcock, Ellery Queen, maybe Analog, maybe the Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction. I don't even know what's left. There's only 3 or 4 of them. They're not very interesting to me because they've gone highbrow. They've gone academic. They're trying to appeal to a literary audience with a PhD rather than the average reader, and that's the error in their publications. That's why I don't read them. It's very simply put, So Kuttner falls into that category where he was writing for the common man, the audience, the dweller in the Tomb, Thrilling Mystery, February 1937. So let's talk about these. A lot of these are horror stories here in these first 2 volumes of the early Kuttner. And what you get are haunted houses. You get supernatural events. You get monsters. You get creepy things happening. It's often grotesque. It's pulp fiction down to its essence. It's really blood is spurting. People are screaming in the night. Their corpses come alive or whatever it is. I'm just speaking off the top of my head. Some of them are outright mysteries. Some of them are a little sexy. Some of them are not. And The Watcher in the Door, Volume 2 is no exception. You get a little more involved in, like, here's one. It's called Corpse Castle. You could never submit that today. You could never do it. They wouldn't take it. That's a shame, because I know there's a lot of writers out there who have been influenced by this. This is from Corpse Castle, was from Thrilling Mystery, November of 39. Isn't that is so much fun. These editions don't have illustrations. So, they were published in Strange Stories, Thrilling Wonder Stories, Weird Tales, these classic pulp magazines, just fantastic. So you get that type of terror in here, that you can't get away with today. With Thunder in the Void, these are old school science fiction stories, when science fiction stories were very imaginative. They were really fun to read. You had characters who, in plots that were, I don't know, that you were meant to get wrapped up in the adventure. And it wasn't highbrow. It wasn't catering to a PhD audience, or whatever. I don't want to go off too much on that. Raiders of the Spaceways, a startling, weird scientific story about the fantastic and horrible entity that lay like a cosmic vampire on the hideous night side of Venus. Where else can you find stuff like this but the pulps? So much fun. Let's just, jump ahead here. Carry Me Home, all right, which appears on page 570. Again, these are huge books. On that fog-shrouded Venusian mountaintop lay an eternal pool where icy diamonds and blood-red rubies, emerald idols, and rich yellow gold sparkled seductively in darkling depths. And striding confidently up the strange path toward that island in the sky came Red Rohan, thief of Venus. But the treasure, of course, had a guardian, a monster, or possibly a god. Henry Kuttner, all right? Hafner Press Editions. So there you go. There are some. These might cost you $45, $50, probably $50 and up on the aftermarket. I don't know if, I think this might be out of print. I'm not 100% sure. You might check with Hafner Press Direct on their website to see what's available. Again, the 3rd volume of the early Kuttner is listed. It's been listed for well over a year, or maybe even longer. I don't remember. I keep looking and it's never available. So I wait till it's available. I'll order it, and if I miss it when they have it in stock, I'll look for it on the aftermarket. But it's been out there. I'm just waiting. So good for them for putting these beautiful books out. These are beautifully bound editions, by the way. So this is the side of modern collecting, modern editions, that's really exciting and fun. And, I hope to encourage you to look into these books, support these small publishers like Hafner Press, and see if you can get some. I guarantee you, if you like this type of thing, you are going to love these 3 books. In the meantime, stay well, stay happy, feed your brain, and read a book.